Okay, here for another Sports Fox session. Here with Harry, and what we're going to be discussing today is the money in football and how the TV dynamic is changing. You worked in obviously the States, and that whole dynamic now is changing with the likes of Rooney and players before him, Bradley going over there. How do you think the sort of dynamic of money in football now is changing, and how do you think the Premier League is going to develop with more money, owners, privatisation, foreign investment? How do you see that changing?
Well, I mean, the money involved, as you say now, Neil, is incredible, and the TV money that comes in is just. I was reading the other day, clubs don't. The gate money is insignificant almost now. A club like Bournemouth don't rely on their gate money. It's all the TV money. They can survive without gates. Next year it's 130 million or whatever just to be in the league. I mean, incredible figures. So, and then obviously, as you say, merchandise and everything else that goes with it now it's all gone through the roof. So it is very much a changing game. I still think not enough money goes down into real grassroots football. I think there's too much goes to the top and not enough goes down. I still see kids playing on pitches that are awful every Saturday, Sunday, kids who want to play. More should be done for the facilities for the young people to play football. But I don't know how you do it, but there should be a way where every club should have to put something into a pot to sort of go towards improving facilities for kids, grassroots level.
I mean, a lot of the TV rights scenario now, obviously Sky have been the big players, and we had the other sports channels trying to get involved. There's a movement away now towards sort of Facebook, Amazon, all purchasing for rights for different regions. How do you think that dynamic will change from a fan's perspective on how they view it in terms of watching the game?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's still lots of people over there that just they haven't got the Sky or the BTs or any of these. Especially in the older generation, people they're not onto Amazon or whatever. That is a problem. But I think there's still nothing for me like going to a game on a Saturday if you can. And that's I think the crowds are still. Every Premier League game is sold out every week. You don't get a ticket anywhere. So I think people will still flock to football. You can get the overkill. I mean, some that there is not for me because I'm football crazy. I watch every game, but there are lots of people. They suddenly you can have too much of it, perhaps. And maybe there is saturation a little bit with too many games on.
I mean, there was one report quoted after Ronaldo signed for Real Madrid that you can go out and purchase a new shirt with his name on the back, and it would only cost you €100. I remember way back when you go out there and it'd be £22 or whatever it was for your shirt for the season.
I know.
Are fans getting exploited? Do you think in that area? If you're there and you want to take your family forward to a game,
some people got 2 or 3 kids. And the older kids want the shirts. It's an expensive day out of football, isn't it now? And that is the problem. It's important, the gate money they're saying is not that important, then bring the prices down. Because the TV money, the revenue from TV and that is big enough, you don't need the gate money, then let families and people get in cheaper. And, that wouldn't be a bad idea, would it? Give a little bit back. But it's amazing, as you say, Neil, the price of shirts. I mean, when I grew up, there was no shirts.
Yes.
No one had a shirt. There wasn't. You went to a football match, no one wore a shirt. The only people who had the shirts were the players. There weren't no shops selling. You couldn't have a replica of Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham or anybody else. The only shirts that were the ones that the players actually wore. Everybody else just had an overcoat on or a scarf.
Exactly.
We might have a scarf on that was about or a rosette. That was as much as we had to show our club colours. Definitely no shirts. Whoever come up with that idea certainly was a clever man. Made a fortune.
Made some money.
Yeah.
What about the ownership of the clubs? Obviously, we had the sort of Russian involvement with Abramovich and a few others, and we've got Chinese involvement now.
Big Chinese involvement.
The Americans, United and Arsenal now looking to take those clubs sort of more private and run them as a business, more on the American model as a sort of franchise. if they don't make Champions League, probably the business isn't successful. What does that mean for sort of clubs going forward? If they're not in that.
Well, see, when you've got all these billionaires now owning football clubs, they all think they should win. They're one in business, they're a successful business. They don't understand that you're not winning. They don't know what it is to come second, third or fourth or whatever. So that is a problem when you're a manager to start with. But there's more and more, as you say, more and more investment coming from abroad now. We don't see very few British owners in the Premier League. Like we're seeing less and less British managers. We're seeing less and less British owners. When I played and grew up, everybody was, there was the local butcher owned Burnley, and then when I was playing at West Ham, the man who owned the woodyard up the road, he was our chairman, Mr. Reg Pratt. He owned the woodyard. Wouldn't have been a billionaire by any means, Yeah. So, and that was how it was. But now you look in the Midlands, I think every club there almost is Chinese owned now, So so every day I hear some people looking to buy football clubs here. It's become the thing to do. And a lot of them, have done very well out of it as well. You look at Bournemouth, look at what an investment that was to buy Bournemouth a few years ago when it was up for sale, about something like £5 million or whatever it was. Now they're getting £130 million for just being in the Premier. So it's been incredible, But the man who's bought it has backed the club, so he deserves his success.
And there seems to be a sort of shift in terms of a lot of money coming in, but a lot of that money actually going out to players and agents rather than back into football per se. Would that lend itself then to those big clubs supporting that by trying to get a sort of breakaway league with other, top clubs from Italy and Spain?
I don't know. I don't see that. I just think that could be a disaster. I think if you're. I remember years ago we had the I forget what competition it was now, but I think Newcastle were going to play Barcelona or someone. It might have been in a dead rubber, and there was about 3,000 people in the in the new camp. Who's interested really? Suddenly, you got an Italian team coming over. You're middle of the table there and nowhere to be seen. It's not the same, as what I do see more game. I do see games going abroad. I do see, for sure in the future. We'll have games in China. We'll have games in America. We'll have Russia, whoever, owners, they will want to take their teams to their country to show them off. That's where their business is. They'll want to take them over there. And I'm absolutely certain that even now, pre-season, they're all doing it. Every club now travels. I mean, the worst preparation you can have for a pre-season is to go and play games in China, or anywhere in Asia. It's the worst, there's nothing could be worse for a player. If you're talking about getting fit for the start of the season. All that travelling, slogging over there, different food, different sleep, change of everything. Years ago, you'd go and play in Scotland or you go down to West Country and you prepare and your whole build-up would be for the first. Now it's all about money. And that's the same with the international break. They'll go off and play a game somewhere. They'll go off and play a game. They'll go and get one big money-spinning game. And they say, well, it's a warm-up for the next week. But they're going to go and they'll play somewhere abroad. And eventually I do see Premier League games more and more will eventually go abroad and play. They'll go to China and play so many games a year. There'll be, a couple of games. Every team will play a game away somewhere. I can see it happening.
I mean, with these big clubs and the big investment, what does that mean for the sort of countries or the big clubs around the world historically? You mentioned both the Glasgow teams earlier. The Ajaxes of the world. Your Turkish Galatasaray maybe. The Red Star Belgrade. All big clubs over the years, but now they're not in that TV environment for money. They're not in that.
No.
What does it mean for them? Are they just gonna fall by the wayside completely?
Well, I mean, it's like Rangers and Celtic, isn't it? Really, I mean, the TV money in Scotland is nothing compared to. So they can't invest in top players. They don't buy. I mean, Glasgow Rangers bought a lot of players in, but they're not top players. Steven Gerrard's out to take loans. He's basically looking to build a championship team. Really, that's what they are. They wouldn't be a Premier League team. Rangers and Celtic. Celtic would they survive in the Premier? They'd be somewhere in there perhaps, but it would be difficult. They wouldn't be a top half team, that's for sure. So it's become more difficult.
Yeah. Is it just for the champions of a nation to have to go and play 3 qualifying rounds, even just to get to the first stage of the Champions League? You know, years ago it was, if you win your league, you are in that Champions
But
Cup,
you know,
right?
some of the leagues as you say, are so poor now that they have to play quali. That's where they are. They're not. You know, they're not up to the standard. Basically, they've got to get through qualifying games. And you know, you say Red Stars and Belgrade, they're now very, very average teams because all their best players are going abroad. As soon as they're any good, they get picked up by, you know, Italian or Spanish or English clubs, and so they're off. They're not staying. You know, so that is always the problem.